Welcome to the deep dive. So, if you're running Google Ads, especially shopping campaigns, there's a change coming up you really need to know about.
That's right. We're digging into Google's plan to align how clicks are reported between Merchant Center and Google Ads. Big date is April 21st, 2025.
Exactly. And we've been looking at some expert analysis on this. Our mission today really is just to unpack what this means for you, for your data, making sure everything's clear.
Yeah, the goal is definitely clarity. We want to cut through any confusion about these platform updates and make it, well, simpler to understand.
Okay, so let's jump in. What's the absolute core of this update?
The core idea, fundamentally, is consistency. Getting those click metrics you see in Google Ads and Google Merchant Center to actually match up properly.
Match up properly. So they didn't before. I think a lot of people might assume they were always the same.
Right, you'd think so. But actually, there have always been these subtle differences in the background. Different counting methodologies, essentially.
Yeah. Okay, so this update is about making them use the same methodology.
Exactly the same. One unified approach across both platforms.
Let's talk practicalities then. The expert source mentions standardized interactions. What does that actually look like for an advertiser?
Think about it this way. Someone clicks your product listing ad, right? A shopping ad.
Mm-hmm.
That specific action, that click, will now be recorded using the identical method in Google Ads, where you build and manage campaigns, and in Merchant Center, where all your product info lives.
So no more like slight mismatches in the click count depending on where you look.
Precisely. That little bit of potential confusion.
Yeah.
Gone. The click means the same thing, numerically, in both places.
Okay, that sounds straightforward enough. But you mentioned methodologies changing. Does this mess with historical data at all? That's something our expert source flagged.
Yeah, and that's a really crucial point, especially if you rely on trend analysis, because the way clicks are counted is changing. When you compare reports from before April 21st, 2025 with reports after that date, you might see some differences. Yeah.
Differences? Like the numbers won't quite line up year over year, maybe?
Exactly. It doesn't mean your old data was bad or inaccurate, not at all. It just means it was collected using that slightly different older method. So yeah, for year-over-year comparisons or any historical lookbacks, you absolutely need to keep this shift in mind.
Right, like putting a little asterisk next to those comparisons mentally, definitely something to note. This really underscores why the update matters then, doesn't it? It's all about reliability.
Absolutely. The big win for advertisers here is getting more trustworthy insights, more reliable data.
Because the numbers will actually be consistent.
Yes. When you see the same click number in Ads and Merchant Center, you can have much more confidence that it's reflecting the same underlying event. No more second-guessing why there might be a small gap between the two.
I can see how that simplifies things. Trying to reconcile slightly different numbers, especially if you run both shopping and, say, search campaigns, that sounds like a headache.
Oh, it can be a real-time sync. Definitely. A bit of mental gymnastics sometimes, trying to figure out the true performance picture when the metrics aren't perfectly aligned.
Yeah.
So this update should really streamline that whole analysis process. And like our source pointed out, if Google Shopping is a big part of your advertising mix,
Which it is for many e-commerce businesses.
right, then this change directly impacts how you measure success. So probably a good prompt to, review your current analytics setup now before the change hits, understand how things look today.
Okay, that makes sense. So knowing this is coming April 21st, 2025, what should advertisers be doing now to prepare? The insights we looked at had some actionable steps.
Yes, step one, and probably the most important right now, is to actually go look at your current reports. Pull up Google Ads, pull up Merchant Center, look at the click data side by side.
Why? To see the current differences.
Exactly. Get a feel for any discrepancies that exist today. Understand your baseline. That context will be invaluable when you start seeing the new unified numbers after the change.
Okay, establish that baseline. Got it. What's step two?
Step two is about your tools. Think about any third-party analytics or reporting platforms you use that pull in data from Google.
Like reporting dashboards or bid management tools.
Yeah, precisely. You need to make sure those tools are ready for this change too. Ideally, check with those providers. Are they aware? Are they updating to align with Google's new unified reporting? You want consistency everywhere.
Right, because if Google aligns but your reporting tool doesn't, you've just shifted the inconsistency problem somewhere else.
You got it. Accuracy across the board is the goal.
And the final piece of advice was about staying informed.
Yeah, just keep your eyes peeled. Google might release more details, maybe some best practices or clarifications as we get closer to that April 2025 date.
So watch for official announcements from Google Ads, Merchant Center, maybe check relevant industry news sites.
Absolutely. Staying current is always good practice with these platforms, but especially when there's a specific reporting change like this coming down the pike.
Okay, so wrapping this up then. We've looked at this upcoming alignment between Google Merchant Center and Google Ads click reporting. The bottom line seems pretty positive, wouldn't you say?
I think so, yeah. It's fundamentally a move towards better accuracy, better consistency, and that ultimately helps advertisers make better decisions. It should make life a bit easier long term.
And the key is preparation.
Definitely. Taking those steps now, reviewing current data, checking your tools, staying informed, that ensures you have a smooth transition. You don't want surprises in your reports come April 2025.
Right. Being proactive means you can keep refining your strategies without any data hiccups. You'll be ready to leverage that more unified view.
Exactly. It sets you up to really maximize what you can learn from your campaign performance data.
So the main takeaway for everyone listening, April 21st, 2025, Google aligns click reporting for Merchant Center and ads. The goal, greater consistency, greater accuracy, giving you a clearer picture overall.
A much clearer picture.
And maybe a final thought to leave people with. Consider this. Once you have this truly unified click data across both platforms, what new insights might pop out?
Good question.
Could this clearer view reveal maybe optimization opportunities or connections between platforms that were kind of hidden or obscured by the slight data differences before? Something to think about.
Definitely something to think about. How can you use this cleaner data strategically?
Thanks for taking this deep dive with us today.